A very good morning and welcome all of you to the daily news analysis for today, 20th of February 2025. So in today's news analysis, we are going to first of all start with the Russia-Ukraine dispute. Mediated by the US, or you can say pressurized by the US, Ukraine is now given the only option to end the war. Well, what has Russia lost all these 2 years? What has been lost by Russia in this dispute? Russian economy grew by 3.7%, but European Union economies they grew by just 0.7%. And Russia strategically increased the dependence of Europe on its gas supplies. So Russia supplies the energy supplies to gas supplies to the European Union in order to meet the European Union's demand for energy supplies. Now Nord Stream pipeline, Nord Stream pipeline 2, these important strategically important projects were implemented, or you can say the dependency of the European Union was deliberately increased on the Nord Stream pipeline that supplies the gas from Russia towards Germany, right? And Germany onwards to Denmark and other countries. So Russia has net made all its conditions agreed upon by the US, by the NATO, by the European Union. And Ukrainian President Zelensky has been given the only option to surrender unto Russia. Even as Russia has carved up Ukraine, today 20% of the Ukrainian territory, as you can see in this map, 20% of the Ukrainian territory is still in the possession of Russia. Right? The war began in 2022, and today, after 3 years, roughly 3 years of the war, Ukraine has been at the receiving end. Ukraine, it all started with the ambition of Ukraine to join NATO. But erstwhile USSR, the leading country Russia, never wanted any of its neighboring countries to join NATO. Right, Cold War, end of the Cold War era, and then this thing happened that there was a consensus that European Union will not admit, or NATO will not admit, any of the member countries in the any of the member countries in the NATO, so that Russia also rest assured that there will be peace for Russia. But this status quo was disturbed when Ukraine was invited to join NATO. A group of countries which are antithetical to the idea of Russia. Okay, so this dispute is since 1945, you can say, and it ended with the disintegration of the USSR in 1991. After that, Russia, the leading country of USSR, wanted some peace, and European Union countries also gave them the assurance that okay, these small countries like Sweden, Finland, etc. will not join NATO. But now what has happened? Ukraine wanted to join NATO. It was given first lesson in 2014 by Russia when Russia annexed Crimea. We are discussing this issue because now the dispute, which has created troubles for countries like India, China, every country in the world, increase in the crude oil prices, increase in the wheat prices. So this war was not good for India given its timing. Now that this war is coming to an end with the withdrawal of the US support to Ukraine, US was giving billions of dollars to Ukraine to continue with this war because of the Russia-US rivalry. But now with the arrival of Donald Trump, what is happening is Donald Trump is intending to save the precious US dollars because US economy is not as great as it used to be during the previous times. It can ill afford to have such kind of wars, such kind of misadventures. So US says, we are not going to give you any more dollars. Yesterday, a peace deal, a kind of meeting was held between Russian leaders and the US side in Saudi Arabia. In that meeting also, Ukrainian leader Zelensky or any of its teammates, any of its senior advisors were not invited. So Zelensky said that any peace deal with regard to Ukraine cannot happen without Ukraine. He was quite right in saying that. But the problem here is that how can you have a peace deal? Let me just check your comments and all. How can you have a peace deal without Ukraine? The problem is Ukraine should not have first of all thought about joining NATO. And after 2014 annexation of Crimea by the Russia prepared itself for the outcomes if in case there occurs a full-fledged war between Ukraine and Russia. And the same happened in 2022 when Zelensky led Ukraine wanted to join NATO. This time Russia was prepared. Russia strategically made sure that Russia increases the dependence of the European Union countries of the overall Europe on the gas supplies, oil supplies by Russia, crude oil supplies, gas supplies. Okay, so that is why Nord Stream, not only the existing Nord Stream 1 pipeline, but Nord Stream 2 pipeline was also given effect, so that the strategic dependence of European Union countries, NATO countries included, on Russia should increase. Once this dependence increases, Russia would be immune to any attack or any kind of misadventure by NATO forces. Since European Union countries were dependent on Russia, during the Russia-Ukraine war also, Europe could do bare minimum. Europe could only impose sanctions on Russia. Even as the sanctions were being imposed, Russian GDP was fed by, Russia was getting billions of dollars by selling gas to European Union. So from 2014, the first attack on Ukraine in the form of annexation of Crimea was followed by a long years of preparation by Russia. And Russia was quite sure that the only way in which Europe would, or European Union or NATO would respond to the Russian attack on Ukraine would be through diplomatic routes, not through military routes. First was the experiment in 2014, and then occurred the full-fledged implementation of that experiment. Full-fledged war. And this time, Ukraine has been given its lessons that dare you think of joining NATO, or NATO has also been given the lessons, dare you think of offending Russia in its backyard, in its neighboring countries. But Russia has lost on two grounds, that Finland and Sweden, Finland the territorial neighbor of Russia, and Sweden the maritime neighbor of Russia, has joined NATO in these years, in 2023. That is the only loss to Russia, rest all has been the gain. Now US withdrawal of support for Ukraine would entail convincing other members, NATO member countries, as the US contributes around 2% of the NATO budget. 2% of the NATO budget comes from US. And I mean, this is a huge number given the fact that other countries are not even contributing 2% of their GDP. Okay, 2% of the GDP is the norm to finance the NATO budget. NATO is an armed grouping of certain member of the European countries, so that these countries on the northeastern side, on the eastern side of the Europe, could be assured that Russia would not attack you, Russia would not usurp upon you. So this is the crux, this is the first news as to what has been the loss and gain for Russia and European Union and Ukraine. Ukraine has lost 20% of its territory, which is still in the possession of Russia. And the war is about to end, you can say. Zelensky has been given the option to opt out or to sign the peace deal with Russia, with the status quo being maintained, with the condition that Ukraine will never ever dare to join NATO or think of joining NATO. Even as the European Union economies, the G7 economies are bleeding, including the US, Canada, Germany, France, etc. But you see, Russian GDP has been maintained around the same average, 3.6% in 2023, then 4% in 2024, right? So this is the loss here for G7 countries which are dependent on Russia for its gas supplies. So this is the takeaway from this news article on Russia-Ukraine dispute. Let's see what happens in the coming days as to the striking of the peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. The world awaits this kind of a deal. Now moving further, Bharatmala Pariyojana, to connect the Indian seaports majorly to the last mile connectivity, to have the freight corridors. As you know, India has a huge coastline, 7,600 odd kilometers. The Prime Minister of India, the government of India thought that why not strengthen this port infrastructure? Why not get rid of the over traffic congestion on the Indian ports? So the last mile connectivity, freight corridors, expressways were thought to be connected under Bharatmala project. A project to connect the, it's different from the Sagarmala, bear in mind. Okay, so port project strengthening is one part. North south and east west corridor, that was also sought to be strengthened. Golden quadrilateral routes were also sought to be decongested. Total project entailing around 34,000 kilometers, right? So now what has happened, of the 34,000 kilometers, 24,000 kilometer projects have been awarded. I repeat, only the projects have been awarded. Nonetheless, 18% of the project, 15 to 18% of the project is complete, but 76% of the projects have been awarded, even though the original cost that was envisaged was around 5,35,000 crores. The project started in 2017 and was thought to end by 2022. Okay, 2022-2023. But because of cost overruns and the time delays, the cost of the project has shot over to 8,46,000 crore rupees. This is the revised cost. Even as the project is, I said, like 76% of the projects have been awarded, 20% of it, 18 to 20% of it is completed now, right? So despite that, the cost overruns have been huge. 5,35,000 was the original cost of the project, phase 1, Bharatmala phase 1. Sagarmala is the project to strengthen India's coastline, India's, harbors, seaports. Now Bharatmala is the project that aims to carry the freight cargo, the ship enabled cargo, to the industrial corridors of India, okay, to the remote locations in India, by connecting the highways, by converting the highways developed under golden quadrilateral into expressways. So this was envisaged in this project. Now what has happened is, this project, because of cost overruns and project delays, there has now been an unofficial moratorium on the new projects being awarded. All right, so this is 34,800 kilometers were to be constructed, but as of now only the projects have been awarded for 24,500 odd kilometers, right? Cost overruns, why do they happen in India? Mains oriented angle can happen here. So you can see from UPSC mains perspective why they happen. Monsoon, delays in the project implementation, lack of structured PPP, lack of structured public-private partnership agreements. Even though a lot of effort has been made by Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, National Highway Authority of India, National Highway Development Project, to strengthen these, to have a structured template of these public-private partnership projects, but that doesn't seem to be happening. Litigation in the court. Then major problem in India is acquisition of land. India being a populous country, okay, acquisition of land becomes another major hurdle in the implementation of such projects. The private companies, they back the project, they get the project, but the projects are not able to take off because of problems in land acquisition. Second point is this. Now what is the solution to this? Ministry of Road Transport and Highways sometimes seems to be at loggerheads, seems to be in dispute with Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change, okay, because of the approval by Environment Impact Assessment. These procedures are important, keeping in mind the climate change and other impact. But why not have, the solution can be, why not have the projects on turnkey basis? Okay, before awarding the projects, the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways will first get all the approvals from Ministry of Environment and Forest, Central Pollution Control Board and related agencies, and then award the project to the private developer. Okay, so this will ensure the private developer that his money, that the GMR or Larsen and Toubro L&T company, the money that they are investing would not get stuck in the court litigations, would not get stuck in the land acquisitions. Right. So time bound completion of the project, there has to be a roadmap for the project, first of all. Then only we will be able to complete these roadways on time. If there is no roadmap for the private developer, they will not be enthused. They will not be evincing interest in this. So therefore, projects are taken by the private players. Sometimes they then seek further concessions from the ministry, right, in terms of increase in the per kilometer cost, etc. So these are the other sides of the problem here. Now we need to see how this project will be taken to its logical conclusion, because it is very, very important. Economic corridors, length is 9,000 kilometers. Then your inter corridor and feeder route, sixth, inter corridor and feeder routes, the routes that will feed traffic onto the India's projects, railway lines. Okay, so that is important. Feeder routes are the routes that will feed cargo, that will feed traffic into the main the railway corridors or the shipping corridors, right? Then national corridors efficiency improvement. Even though the national corridor like Golden Quadrilateral has been there, but its efficiency has been neglected over the years because of the increase in traffic. Now it is not able to cater as efficiently. So multi-laning of such highways which are already existing. If there was a 4-lane highway, if it needs to be converted into 6-lane highway due to increase in traffic, we need to do that. So those kind of things are being talked about over here, right? Now coming to the other aspects. Good morning everyone. Sudha, Kapil. So these are important for your GS mains paper 3. Okay, what is the difference between Bharatmala and Sagarmala? Just answer this briefly in the comment section. What is the difference between Bharatmala project and Sagarmala project? Right now, coming to the other aspect, this is the editorial that we are going to deal with in today's news analysis. Editorial is on Myanmar, Manipur and strained borders. So I ask you a question. How much is the border length between India and Myanmar? What is the border length? Right. So Myanmar has been at a fight with itself ever since 2021. Now, this situation in India, where two of the India's neighboring countries, the eastern side neighbors, Myanmar and Bangladesh, do not share good relations with India. While Bangladesh is also going on through an internal disturbance, same is the case with Myanmar. Now, we have talked about in the previous days about Golden Quadrilateral and Golden Triangle. Now, you tell me, what is the meaning of Golden Triangle? What all countries are there in the Golden Triangle in the light of two things? One is the situation in Myanmar, the internal disturbance that is going on in Myanmar, and second, the emergency imposed in Manipur, right? So these states, which of the states shares the longest border with the country Myanmar? Okay, we are going to talk about free movement regime. Earlier it was 40 kilometers, then it was reduced to 16 kilometers, then 10 kilometers. What has United Nations High Commission on Refugees got to say? 96,000 people have migrated into India. The refugees have migrated into India during this turmoil in Myanmar, which is happening since 2021. Okay, so we are going to talk about it at the relevant place. These are the other news articles. First two we have covered already. Coming to the third, fourth and the remaining ones. Now coming to the Mulla Periyar Dam dispute. 124 years old dam, which is located in Kerala but is managed by Tamil Nadu. Now the dispute has gone to Supreme Court again. This time the issue is that Tamil Nadu wants to do some repairs to the dam so that the height of the water in the dam could be increased. Now Tamil Nadu says that everything it wants to do with Mulla Periyar Dam is managed by Tamil Nadu. Okay, but it is because of its aging nature, there have been several cracks and fissures in the dam, the breaches in the dam. So those things are being escalated, are being hyped up by the state of Kerala, to the extent that anything and everything that Tamil Nadu does to repair the dam is being projected as Tamil Nadu is trying to harm the dam and Tamil Nadu is putting the people of Kerala into danger. Right? So understand the travesty of history. The problem with the history here, dam was given on a 999 years lease by the Maharaja of Travancore to state of Tamil Nadu to divert the Periyar river to the drier regions of Tamil Nadu. So what happened is, since the drier regions of Tamil Nadu are irrigated by Mulla Periyar Dam, Tamil Nadu under the lease is duty bound to do the repairs of the dam. Now Tamil Nadu state wants to do the repair of this dam. Every time it wants to do the repair, state of Kerala cries hawks about it. State of Kerala says that Tamil Nadu is trying to damage the dam. And this damage, by increasing the water level, Tamil Nadu is putting the lives of the Kerala people, Keralites, into risk. This is why Supreme Court also orally remarked in this hearing that the supervisory committee has been directed by the Supreme Court to look into the issue of dam safety. But Supreme Court judges, they orally remarked that why is Kerala creating an impression that anything and everything that is done to the dam to repair it by Tamil Nadu is like putting the lives of the people of Kerala into risk. Right? So this is there. Now, Dam is located in Kerala, but it is operated and maintained by Tamil Nadu as per this 999 years lease. You have to remember the year for prelims. What is the year in which the deal was signed? Maharaja of Travancore. Now it is called Kerala, Travancore, the state of Travancore. Okay. So during the British era, this deal was struck. Purpose: the dam diverts the water, as I said, waters of the Periyar River, a mighty river, towards the drier regions of Tamil Nadu, the drier districts of Tamil Nadu. So they are fed by this river, by this dam. Now, the committee must, what is the structure? What have we done? India is one of the countries which is, third largest country which is having so many dams here. If you look at the situation here, India is the third largest dam owning country after Canada and US. And there are 227 dams that are over 100 years old. On one hand, we are to implement projects like Bharatmala, as we just saw, to improvise our infrastructure, to increase the logistical transportation, to improve the logistical transportation. Okay, the courier companies, the freight corridors, etc. On the other hand, we have a challenge to achieve the net zero carbon emissions by 2070. We have to retire our coal-based thermal power plants. And that is why these hydroelectric power plants, tidal power plants like these dams, based upon these dams, they become more important for India. Since they are increasing in importance, how do we construct new dams? On one hand, we are constructing new dams like Tehri Dam in Uttarakhand. On the other hand, we have to repair the existing dams in order for us to take our economy towards the net zero carbon emissions target, as I just said, right? So now India is the third largest dam owning nation in the world after China and USA. There are around 5,700 large dams in the country. 80% of the large dams are already over 25 years old. They develop breaches, they develop fissures and cracks, and the water might spill over in the form of flood to the neighboring areas, as is happening in some parts of some regions around the Mulla Periyar Dam because of the breaches in the dam. Tamil Nadu wants to raise the water level in Mulla Periyar Dam. Same is the case with other major dams also. On one hand, the concern is the aging dams. On the other hand, the concern is the all-weather availability of water, all-time availability of water. We are a country which gets 90% of its monsoon rainfalls in 3 months, 4 months. We have to continue using that water stored in these reservoirs, stored in these dams for remaining 8 months, total 12 months in a year. So the problem is how to store so much of water in these dams. In the light of this challenge, India responded by enacting the new Dam Safety Act in 2021. So the Dam Safety Act creates an institutional mechanism to take care of the dam safety. Policy laying, regulations, implementation of policy by the national and the state level organizations. So we are going to talk about that. What is the structure of Dam Safety Act? The institutional structure created by the Dam Safety Act to take care of dam safety. National Committee on Dam Safety, headed by the chairperson of Central Water Commission. Can this question be asked in prelims? Yes, this question can be asked in prelims. Okay, so please take a note of it. National Dam Safety Committee, National Committee on Dam Safety is headed by the chairperson of Central Water Commission. Okay, Central Water Commission chairperson, to evolve policies around dam management. So it is a policy making body. Okay, then National Dam Safety Authority. It implements the policies created by the National Dam Safety Committee. Okay, so this institutional structure was created under Dam Safety Act 2021. Please bear in mind. Acha, I ask you one article. What is the article in the Constitution of India that deals with the interstate water disputes? Please answer in the comment section. Even if you are going to watch the recorded session, please answer. It is article 260 something. Okay, so I'm leaving you with a hint here. If you are able to recollect, that is good. Gradually we will see all these editorials, all these issues as we proceed through this daily news analysis. Now here, National Dam Safety Authority, since it is national body again, how do you memorize this thing? Additional secretary level officer of the government of India. He could be secretary to the water ministry. Okay, Jal Mantralay. What is the function? Function as the regulatory authority. So this body is going to implement the policy made by National Dam Safety Committee. Okay, National Committee on Dam Safety. Then coming to the state level here, State Committee on Dam Safety, constituted by the state government. Here, the secretary water can be the head, even though different states have different mechanisms, different types of members, but they are of the secretary level. Okay. Jal Mantralaya secretaries are normally appointed as the head of the State Committee on Dam Safety. Its role is also to implement the policy of the national level body, Central Water Commission and National Committee on Dam Safety. So this implements the policies laid down by the central government. Okay, water distribution, when the what would be the level of water storage, all these norms are prescribed by the State Committee on Dam Safety. Now, to implement these norms and policies laid down by the State Committee, there is State Dam Safety Organization at the state level, again headed by the state level functionary, some IAS officer, some secretary appointed to it. So they implement the regulations of State Committee on Dam Safety. Here, policy laying, implementation. Policy laying down by the state level body, implementation by the state level body. Can you remember this 4 institutions? Since this issue of Mulla Periyar Dam has been in the news, this topic is a probable topic. Okay, so I told you India is the country which has third largest number of dams after China and the USA, right? So that being the case, here, taking a snapshot of it will help you retain this, or I'll share the PDF with annotations on the Telegram channel, guys. If you have any doubt, please ask the doubt in the comment section. Okay. Any doubt, anybody, you can feel free to ask this. Now, after that, we'll see some prelims questions and mains questions also. This is the descriptive format of this screenshot. I mean, the functions of these bodies. I converted them into a mind map kind of a thing so that you can memorize, but the details, more details to it are there in this PDF. So you can download the PDF and go through its functions. Okay. These things are not given in any of the booklets also. Now, prelim snippets, what are you supposed to remember for prelims? Mulla Periyar, this treaty was signed by Maharaja of Travancore in the year. Which year was it signed? Okay, not very important, but yes, you have to memorize. So, when was this treaty signed? What is the time period? 999 years. Okay. Now, another thing you need to memorize for prelims is what is the trajectory of this Periyar River? What is the route followed by the Periyar rivers? What are its tributaries and what are its distributaries? So please answer in the comment section. What are the tributaries of this river, Periyar River? And Periyar River in turn is a tributary of any one other river? Answer this. Why are most of the rivers in the South India, they fall into Arabian Sea? Some of the rivers, they fall into Arabian Sea. Why most of the rivers of the Deccan Plateau, they are flowing towards the other side? Okay, please answer this. So these are the questions. Okay, now answer the tributaries of this thing. This question on the rivers, the flow of the rivers is towards the Bay of Bengal. Why is it so? You have to answer this. This has been asked in the UPSC also. Now, Dam Safety Act 2021 coverage. The act covers all the dams with a height of over 15 meters and those between 10 meters and 15 meters with specific design or structural features. Okay, height of the dam is 15 meters. Dam comes under National Dam Safety Act. Okay, any dams below the height 15 meters are not covered. You need to remember this for prelims, guys. Am I clear? Now, National Dam Safety Authority, this is what we have already covered. Moving on to the other article, obligations of the state under the Dam Safety Act. What are the obligations? Provisions of the Dam Safety Act 2021, they require the states to classify the dams based on the hazard risk. So this is the job of State Committee on Dam Safety. Then State Dam Safety Organization will implement these norms. Hazard risk has to be identified. What is the hazard? When can the water flow upsurge happen in the dam? What are the probable scenarios to be identified? Hazard risk. Conduct regular inspections. If there are any dam breaches or cracks in the walls of the dams, those need to be identified. If there are any cracks being developed or being witnessed, then create emergency action plan. How would you evacuate people if in case there is any breach in the dam? If in case the dam collapses, wall of the dam collapses, what is the evacuation plan? Don't let the people make hutments or slums near the dam wall. Okay, so this is another thing. Now, institute emergency flood warning system around the dams. So undertake safety reviews and periodic risk assessment studies also need to be undertaken. So these are the obligations on the states under the Dam Safety Act. Also answer another question: water as a subject comes under which list? Union list, state list, or concurrent list? Okay, dams, this water, which list does it come under? So what is the article? I have asked you many questions. This is how you can do the SWOT analysis. I mean, the analysis of any topic as to what type of question can be asked in prelims. As prelims is becoming more challenging, so from now onwards, we'll try incorporating more topics, more questions related to the prelims in our news analysis, apart from the mains analysis, right? So this is the question. Quickly go through it. Which of the following statements regarding the dam safety act is or are correct? The act covers all the dams irrespective of their height or structures or structural characteristics. Second, the National Dam Safety Authority is responsible for evolving dam safety policies. Third, the act mandates the preparation and implementation of emergency action plans for the dams. So please answer all this. Okay, with this one question on this and the remaining questions that I have asked. Now, coming to the other aspects, India-Egypt Joint Special Forces Exercise Cyclone 3. So, this is the third version, you can say, Cyclone 3, another version of another edition of the India-Egypt exercise. Now, you should wonder, you must ask yourself, or why are we having relationships? Why are we strengthening our relationship with Egypt? This is the goodwill that helps us in evacuating Indians when they are stuck somewhere in the Middle East, in the in the West Asia, around West Asia. Okay, so Egypt is important strategically because of its location near Israel Palestine. Okay, so Israel Palestine always remains on the boil, always remains in news because of the fight between Hamas group, etc. Okay, that is why this exercise is happening now in Bikaner. Sometimes UPSC asks a direct question on these type of things because this news seems to be very ordinary, obscure news. I mean, ignored more often than not. In the newspaper also today, there is just a screenshot of it. Okay, this screenshot. But as a news analyst, I would say it is our duty to incorporate the details of it. So this is a all the elite forces of both the sides, they participate in it to know each other's cooperability in times of any kind of attack on any of these nations. They can cooperate, understanding each other's military equipment, their language, their signals to each other, okay, hand gestures, etc. So that is why this high intensity exercise is a testament to the strong strategic partnership between India and Egypt. The other day, yesterday, we saw India and Qatar signing a strategic partnership. Today we are talking about Egypt. Now I ask you a question from the mains perspective. Do you think India and Egypt really share strategic partnership? India and Egypt share the strategic partnership in the right earnest, in the right sense of the term. Okay, do you think that it is proper to call this relationship, one country is located deep down in Africa, north of Africa, and the other country is in South Asia? How can we say that these are strategic partners? Okay, so identify the commonalities, identify the common threats, right? So Egypt, Sinai Peninsula is there or not? Answer this. Does Sinai Peninsula stretch up to Egypt or not? Answer this question. Simple question for geography, map-based question. Okay. Now here, Suez Canal. Suez Canal is in the possession of Egypt or not? What is the length of Suez Canal? This is the other question. If you keep on answering these questions on a daily basis, you will feel gradually that yes, you are gaining that confidence to ace prelims exam. Okay, to clear prelims exam with ease. Gradually you will see your level of knowledge would go up, not in one day. If you think that in the last 3 months you will start reading these facts, that 3 months would never come. You would end up postponing your exam, guys. Okay, so see here. Then another question is, Mediterranean Sea touches the boundaries of how many countries? Okay, Mediterranean Sea touches the shores of how many of these countries? Please answer in this neighboring area. Okay, This question is a previous year question. Then Red Sea also, just check once. Okay. Nile River, Egypt, those questions are also there, but answer at least these questions that I'm asking you. Sinai Peninsula, what is it? Does it lie in Egypt, and what other countries is it spread into? Right? There are secret tunnels between Egypt and this Israel, Gaza Strip. Okay, so people from Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, it was a pseudo terrorist group in Egypt which would which would send arms and ammunitions to Palestinians in Gaza. Okay, so this is another angle why India maintains closer ties with Egypt, even as the trade and commerce relationships are not as good, right? So this is there. Now moving further to the other news article, which of the following water bodies does not border Egypt, does not touch Egypt? So which is the river? This is another question you need to answer. So many questions I'm asking you, very, very easy one word type of answers to these questions are there. It will help you gain that knowledge. Open your Atlas map, go through those areas which are there in the news on a daily basis for 10-15 minutes to gain command over the map based questions in the UPSC preparation. Clear? So please answer this question also. Now, Sangam water controversy. Mahakumbh is going on. Central Pollution Control Board comes up with a report that water is contaminated. The Sangam water is not fit for taking bath, is not fit for drinking the least, right? So which bacteria? Coliform bacteria. So what does UPSC, what would UPSC be interested in this news clipping? So they would be interested in how the coliform bacteria is found, how is it formed, what are the harmful effects of this bacteria. You find all in this prelims snapshot or snippet over here. Fecal coliform. There are three types of this bacteria. Okay. Total coliform, fecal coliform, and then E. coli coliform. Escherichia coli coliform. E. coli is a bacteria that is commonly found in our hands. That is why we fall prey to the bacterial infections. That is why it is suggested that we should often, at least 7 to 8 times a day, we should wash our hands. Total bacteria, the total coliform, we are going to talk about a little later. Coming to fecal coliform. So fecal coliform is that bacteria that is naturally present in the intestines of warm-blooded animals, human beings. Okay, and the fecal material that when it comes out or when people are taking bath, through their sweating, through their body dirt, fecal bacteria contamination is happening in the Sangam waters. That is why too many people taking bath in the same flow of the water contaminates the water to the extent that people might fall prey to diarrhea, nausea, vomitings, etc. Okay, so that is why Central Pollution Control Board came up with a report. Even though this report has been giving political color between Samajwadi Party and BJP, we should be more interested in this part, guys. Okay, we should be more interested in the coliform bacteria and its harmful effects. It can cause diarrhea. You should be knowing this. Okay, so this is there. Now coming to the other aspect, this Myanmar, Manipur and strained borders. So what is happening is Myanmar has been at a dispute. This is an editorial that has appeared in the Hindu newspaper today and we are dealing with it. Myanmar's February 2021 military coup sparked widespread disapproval. So the worst affected areas are Kachin province, Chin province and your this Sangyang region. Okay, this overall region is called Sangyang region. Let me change the color of the pen here. So Kachin province, Chin province. These areas touch the Indian states of Manipur, Nagaland, etc. Okay. Now please answer, how many states touch the borders of, how many Indian states share the border with Myanmar? Simple question. Okay. Now see here, Kachin province, these are the worst affected areas. What is happening is we share the free movement regime with the people of Myanmar. Our people, some of the tribes living in this area, Manipur, Mizoram, they have a to and fro movement daily between Myanmar and Mizoram, Myanmar and Manipur. Okay, these to and fro movements have been continuing ever since India was a complete, one mainland country. Right now, artificial borderization, thanks to the British era, thanks to the kingdoms, they divided the people, they divided the borders, landmass, but not the people. So people, even to this day, they have regular to and fro movements. Okay, the fraternity is still there. That is why government of India and government of Myanmar agreed to a free movement regime up to 40 kilometers. That means within 40 kilometers of Myanmar, up to 40 kilometers of Myanmar and 40 kilometers of India, these people who were, sometimes some of them were original inhabitants of Mizoram, or some of them were original inhabitants of the Shin province of Myanmar. Okay, so they can have regular to and fro movements. Some of their relatives live there, some of their relatives live in India, likewise. So we have this, but because of the militancy, because of the insurgency incidents between Myanmar and India, we had events like surgical strike. Okay, during those times, it was decided that let us reduce it to 16 kilometers. But again, it was increased to 40 kilometers. Now, Minister of Home Affairs Amit Shah, a few days back, he said that we are going to reduce it to we are going to abolish this free movement regime altogether. Why? Because the United Nations report says that United Nations High Commission on Refugees, okay, it says that 96,500 people, 95,600 people, they have intruded into the boundary of India. They have migrated to India, okay, because of the ongoing violence since last 3 years in Myanmar. Myanmar military junta, which is ruling Myanmar, okay, whose official name is Tatmadaw. Tatmadaw is at fight with its own people. Okay, I mean the rebellion groups that have been created, they are controlling large parts of Myanmar today. Myanmari officially military is not in command of many areas, and that is why many people are facing exodus. And the good land, the best kind of opportunities they find in India. Even as Indian state of Manipur is at fight with itself, 𝐂𝐾𝐄𝐍𝐃𝐄𝐃 dispute. So the challenge for India is compounded. On one hand, it has to maintain good relations with Myanmar. Okay, the brotherly relations that we have between the families living between the both the sides of the border. On the other hand, we have to take care of our Manipur's demographic composition that is getting disturbed, the hill region and the valley region dispute. Myanmar, recently we saw in Manipur, president's rule has been imposed, right? So, how to balance both these sides? Myanmar is not able to control their own population. Okay, rebel groups have been formed there, right? So, this is going on. The impact on India, there is a concept of push and pull factors. Why do we give aid to our neighboring countries like Myanmar, Bangladesh? Okay, here it is Bangladesh. Bangladesh is also facing internal disturbance, and here Myanmar is also at a dispute with itself. Okay, since 2021. So these factors, the dispute, the internal disturbance between the country, it pushes the people onto the other side of the border. These become push factors. Okay, these push factors push the people out of their own country into India. Sometimes we saw that Myanmari Rohingyas are coming. There are 44,000 Rohingyas found in Jammu and Kashmir. That is why India keeps on ensuring the peace and stability in Sri Lanka, in Maldives, so that these people do not intrude into Indian boundary. Okay, so Nepal also sometimes, okay, Madheshi Maoist dispute is there. That is why we keep on giving grants to these financial grants to these countries. And that is the reason we want now that Myanmar should be at peace. More so now. Why? Because we are having already facing the challenge in Manipur, our own state. And this challenge would be compounded further if already 95,600 people have intruded into the Indian mainland, Mizoram and Manipur, right? So that is the problem here. Now another angle is the golden triangle. In the other day's class, we talked about this golden triangle. Golden crescent, the drug exporting, or you can say the drug producing region. India is sandwiched between this golden crescent and golden triangle. What are the countries in the golden triangle? Please answer. Myanmar is one of them, right? So you see the overall security scenario for India. Drug cartels are there, illegal drug thing is happening. United Nations Office on Drug and Crime says that instances of increasing HIV and AIDS are happening because of this. And India's Ministry of Home Affairs internal security report says that a lot of money is being generated in this light, which is arming the insurgents. National Socialist Council of Nagaland, okay, Isaac Movia Group, IM Group. So what is they getting? They are getting money because of this war like situation that is going on in Myanmar, and this is further arming them. We've seen this in the previous news analysis also. Okay, now this India's home minister's declaration that free movement regime would be abolished is more theoretical, is more a kind of rhetoric than reality. Why? Even as he announced this in December 2024, India revised the limit to 10 kilometers. That within 10 kilometers of Myanmari border and Indian border, people from Myanmar and people from India can have back and forth movements. In the previous class, I told you that there is Reena Mitra committee that was appointed. It said that rather than having an open border, we should have Reena Mitra Committee on securing the India-Myanmar border. They said that we should have dedicated corridors, checkposts where the border security force, Assam Rifles will be deployed, rather than having a full unfenced border. Now talking about China, China is investing a lot in fencing its border with Myanmar. China, because of being a UNSC, United Nations Security Council permanent member, it can threaten Myanmari people, Myanmari military junta, that it will impose United Nations Security Council sanctions, okay, or it can veto the sanctions at least whenever the threat of sanctions is being presented by the US. So it has got a leeway, that flexibility to manipulate Myanmari situation in its favor. Unlike India, India not being a member of United Nations Security Council cannot convince Myanmar as much as China can. Despite the fact that India shares an open border with Myanmar, China has started fencing its border since 2022, and fencing is almost complete. Right? So we become more vulnerable when China is fencing its border. Some of these Myanmaris we are seeing a mass exodus into India. Some of it could have been shared by China. Right? Our own constitutional norms, Atithi Devo Bhava, guest is God kind of a philosophy that we have. Article 21 gives right to life to even persons from outside India. If they happen to be on the land of India, they can reach out to Supreme Court asking for protection of their life, asking for non extradition, even as the likes of Donald Trump are sending people back to India with the in the army cargo flights. Okay, the Air Force planes that they are sending every almost every alternate day. So many Indians are being sent back, but India is mired in a situation where we are seeing the exodus of people from Bangladesh and exodus of people from Myanmar. So guys, this was all in today's news analysis. I hope you enjoyed it. If there is any feedback, any comment, anything, today I changed the approach a little bit. We covered more of the prelims oriented news articles also, highlighting the coliform bacteria type of news things. So please answer if we are okay with one or two editorials per day plus the remaining news. Okay, so this way we will be able to cover more of the prelims aspects also, right? Thank you. PDF you can download in a short while from now from the Telegram channel, Jatin Verma sir, PW only IS. The link of the Telegram channel is given in the description box of this session, guys. See you tomorrow. Thank you. Bye-bye.